Welcome to you all at this virtual roundtable organized by TekDelta and the Netherlands AI Coalition, and also part of the Upstream event. My name is Anita Lieverdink. I work at TNO, where I have such a nice job, and that is to set up and manage public-private partnerships for innovation. We call that orchestrating innovation. And today I'm wearing actually two hats, as on the one hand, founder and director of TekDelta, and also the coordinator of the working group Startups and Scale-ups of the Dutch AI Coalition. Let's explain in short for those not familiar with TekDelta. TekDelta is like a matchmaker, a network that connects two worlds, that of large organizations, both private and public, and also that of innovative tech startups and scale-ups. And the reason TNO invests in TekDelta is that we see that both worlds still have some trouble in connecting to each other, while we believe that it's very necessary to for them to meet to accelerate the innovation process. So large organizations on the one hand need the speed and agility and innovativeness of the startups. But on the other hand, tech startups and scale-ups really need market access, knowledge, and in case of AI, especially large data sets that corporates and public organizations can provide them. And since AI is such a fascinating technology that will affect us all and it has endless possibilities, today we collaborate with the Netherlands AI Coalition. That is a national public-private partnership to stimulate and support and, if necessary, orchestrate Dutch activities in AI. So by combining both networks, we're able to create a full day on AI. We had 50 matchmaking conversations. This morning we had a 2.5-hour expert workshops on legal affairs. And so now this roundtable discussion, and in the afternoon, another one on responsible data sharing. So let's now get to our panel. All the panel members have quite some experience in partnering together and also in applying AI. They want to share their knowledge with us, their lessons, and also their pitfalls. So let me start by introducing Jasper. Jasper, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Jasper. I'm from Amsterdam, 2 kids, and my own company, which is also like a little kid raising. I studied artificial intelligence back in the 90s at the University of Amsterdam. Had a career in different fields like e-commerce and fintech and even Dutch social network Hives. And then in 2012, I got back into artificial intelligence with my former classmates, and we founded Braincreators as a company. And now we provide AI solutions to other companies.
Quite successful. All right, thank you, Jasper. Jeroen, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Anita. My name is Jeroen. I'm the CEO of Sobolt and working on successful AI applications every day with 25 really intelligent people. And we were founded in 2016, so 4 years on the run. Yeah, we're applying remote sensing data everywhere, especially on infrastructure. And yeah, it gives a lot of energy every day.
And we can tell. Okay, Kitting, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and BAM?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Anita. My name is Kitting Lee. I'm Chinese, born in the Netherlands, married and with 2 kids. Background civil engineering and also business administration. I work already 16 years within the BAM company. BAM is a European construction company, and our main aim is to contribute to the society by improving safety and availability of infrastructure. That is the vision and also where I focus on. And really, I'm passionate about technology. I really want to embrace technology to improve our purpose to contribute to the society and the infrastructure. And AI is one of the technologies definitely we will use.
The main important. Last but not least, Jacco.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anita. Welcome all. My name is Jacco Saaman. I'm working within SPIE and responsible for innovation and development. SPIE is founded in 1900, so today we have 120 years of knowledge on board. I'm not that old, but we have a lot of data sets on which we contribute to our customers, and we work in every field from the building, infrastructure, and the industry part. So happy to welcome you all and to share knowledge and to learn from you.
Great. Well, we have a nice panel, as you noticed, but of course you in the audience are also very important. So please share your questions or remarks. We will have about 10 minutes to get to the questions and answer them, of course. After the panel discussion, there's also 2 startup pitches, so stay tuned. Okay, let's start with you, Kitty. You told me in our preliminary conversation that AI came over you like a tsunami. Can you explain?
Yes, maybe for the audience, I think up to 4 years ago, I haven't read about a lot, and my knowledge about AI was very little, and also I only get acquainted with AI by some news articles in the media. But by understanding some of the news articles, I got a little bit fascinated and also wanted to know more about it. So I jumped in the news articles and to understand a little bit more what is AI and why some people tell that we are in a new area or new revolution where we are going through, the AI revolution. And on the other side, another news article which really triggers me was about MIT, that they really invest billions of money to educate people in all kinds of backgrounds, civil, healthcare, whatever, with AI as the basis of their study. And I was thinking, in our construction sector, we are quite traditional. What is happening in AI is a lot of things what was going over us, and that is the effect of tsunami, how I want to explain to people. That is the feeling, that is something is really coming to us and getting over, and will really change the environment where we are in. And on second hand, we are in a very conservative sector market. And I really want to embrace this tsunami effect, the power it has to incorporate it into our daily business.
So what does that mean? Can you give some examples on how you see that AI could affect your business and already is affecting?
Now, what I have noticed and what we really are working on the last couple of 2 years is usage of computer vision. So image recognition. For you good to know is we do a lot of inspection, for example, of infrastructure, understanding what do we have outside, does it comply with the requirements, how many do we have, like a crack on the roads or traffic lights which is bending over or whatever. And computer vision is, for example, one of the technologies that really helps us to quickly identify what is in the area available, what is happening there, and analyze it, what the condition is. That is one, for example, one example. But that definitely we'll jump into another example as well later in our talk.
Okay, great. What about you, Jacco? What's your relationship with AI?
As SPIE, we have a lot of knowledge internally. We have a lot of people working, and they are dealing with the daily inspections, as also Lee already told. But we are also doing projects, and the combination between the practical views of these persons, which is called experience in the last years, can be transformed into AI modeling, so that you are able to do create things which are more practical than the things you have done. So, for example, if you look at buildings, we now are in a circular environment, so we need to use circular things. And if you know that, you can predict and help with the AI how to reuse it again, but also in the BIM modeling, how to bring in the elements which are already constructed and which are to be adapted. So we have 47,000 colleagues, which will be not working all with AI, but in the future we'll expect that AI will be a part of our knowledge database together with the deep learning environment. So we started as SPIE to work with people who are in this call also, in order to find out if we are possible in the same market where Lee and the BAM is also working to help and to build up the data set, because we have a lack of over 1,000 open personal vacatures. So employees are being searched all around, and they are very hard to find. And we believe that AI will help us also to build up the knowledge data set for the new people.
All right. Well, we'll get back to the human capital side later on. But maybe first, also, Jeroen, you are working together with BAM. And what I heard is to better understand a road and even let a road communicate with a car. Sounds like magic to me. How does Sobolt, or how do you do that?
Yeah, well, we don't understand the roads fully, I have to be honest there. I think it's about the collaboration there between the the expertise that BAM has, and our AI skills. Of course, is the process of data acquisition, running models, and bringing it to the next level for the expert. And I think it's twofold. On the one hand, it's automating things and making things more efficient, so you can save money, basically. But the second part is perhaps even more interesting. That's about really new value, new insights that are not possible without AI. And of course, that's the most interesting part.
Maybe it's not clear yet for the audience. It's about inspecting a road and knowing about its quality and when it needs to be maintained. And also you say there are more opportunities because you learn more about the road and its behavior.
Absolutely, absolutely. On the one hand, we can do more efficient and more concrete inspections. With computer vision, we can know more about a bridge or a road or a tree than ever before. But on the second hand, we can also start predicting how it's going to behave in the future. Of course, we can work with time series there, but also concrete measurements can be done as never before. For instance, when we're talking about tree inspections, with a camera and the LiDAR on a car, we can inspect the trees far better than a human. That's interesting because every tree needs to be inspected every 3 years in the Netherlands, so that's great. But the second thing is we can start building a new way of urban planning where it comes to green, because we know the value of a tree. We know the size of the tree by the more exact measurements, and we can start calculating the real value of a tree on a certain neighborhood or place. So this opens completely new opportunities by using AI and making inspections more efficient at the same time.
Right.
It's really cool.
It's getting to know the tree. Jasper, I'd like to give the word to you. You collaborate with BAM and with SPIE already, with your company Braincreators. Can you explain the value you deliver for these companies?
Yeah, it's great and it's really cool. Just kidding. So, well, we always had automation, right? In IT, we automated all kinds of processes. We have robots in factories automating stuff. And the part that's recently been added, well, since 2012, 2013, is this capability of learning to recognize something, basically, right? And especially in computer vision. And we call a lot of stuff AI nowadays. So things we used to call big data, analytics is now AI, natural language processing and interpretation is now AI, and also this visual part is considered AI. Some similar technologies are in the background and some hyped terminology like deep tech or deep learning. What it boils down to is that the change we're seeing now is that automation is not just programmed automation where humans write the rules for a system to respond to, but we can also teach a system how to interpret an image or interpret a text or interpret a sequence of numbers. And that's the real power of this phase, where we don't have to hard code manually what a computer program should be doing. It can sort of code itself by learning from examples. And this is what ties into what Jacco just said. There are lots of people doing work that requires a form of intelligence, knowledge, skill, but it doesn't really scale because they have all these open vacancies. You need a lot of people to do that. To inspect one road in the Netherlands, you need typically 5 weeks for an inspector to look at road footage and then annotate what's wrong, right? And if you teach this trick to a machine, teach a machine to recognize these defects on the road, then this can be brought down to maybe a couple of hours, and then some work for the human to create a nice report or change a little bit. This is also something that's often overlooked. There's always a form of user supervision required because it's probabilistic. You need to know where it starts to fail and what the exceptions are and correct it. Yeah. But still, you can bring these 5 weeks of work down to maybe a couple of days. And that's the real value. And at the same time, you can scale this because once you taught the machine a particular skill and shared the knowledge with it and it's learned, then you can spread this as a system, and it doesn't scale like with the amount of humans you can hire. You can just make the system available and everyone can benefit from this level of knowledge that you've taught to the machine. And I think that's where the real strength, at least for our part, of visual inspection duties comes, is making this expert knowledge explicit and then sharing it as a system with everyone in your company or with all companies.
Yeah, explicit and scalable. I reckon it will also lead for some people to some kind of insecurity, job insecurity. Jacco also said that it's for him it's about human capital as well. Will the system take over? What is your opinion on that?
Well, this has been a fear with every industrial revolution, as they call it. And so far, every revolution has created more jobs than it's killed. And also in this case, it doesn't mean you need less people. You just have people that can do more interesting things and more other things. These are usually repetitive tasks, right? If you look at video footage for 5 days, it's not necessarily where human intelligence is really performing, right? This is work. And there are books about this, right? The 4-hour work week and stuff. Yeah. The amount of time in a day where we are really intelligent as humans is where we are creating.
Right now.
Come up with solutions. And this actually allows us to do more of that because the work is for a large part being automated. So we can tackle the problems we are facing as a society, and that ties in nicely with Jeroen, right? The end goal of this is to get more time to think about the real issues while the actual boring work is being performed by these intelligent machines.
You also had a nice example about this at a large industrial company. Could you share it with us?
Yeah, that's actually a funny story. Like, if we came in, it's getting less nowadays because people have a better understanding of the benefits of AI applications. But if we came in like 4 years ago for a big steel company that everyone knows, there is hesitation from the people, the experts actually doing the work right now, because they feel like their job is being taken by a machine, right? They help it learn something and then they're obsolete. While in reality, what they are actually doing is they become a sort of supervisor of a system, and they start wondering about the rest of the process. Like, okay, if we automatically inspect the quality of steel, what could we do to improve it before defects appear, instead of just looking at the defects and fixing them? So the moment he started realizing this and started working with the system, he put in this ticket in our bug tracking system, asking for a name change of the system. So our system is called Brain Matter, and he was asking for Rosa for within the company. And that's actually the name of his daughter. So he started to love the system so much that he wanted to see his daughter's name associated with it instead of our boring Brain Matter title. But it's a nice case of how this opinion can change from being defensive to loving the fact that
once you're adopting Jacco, you once told me that it also is a lot of missionary work, and also, by the way, Kitting, you told me, to really start implementing these kind of technologies in your large organizations. Could you share a little bit with us what it entails?
If you look closely to companies exist of people, and people have their own mindset and their own learned skills. So if you are going to ask them to change, it's always a different in behavior, but also in knowledge. So a big thing of AI bringing into companies is communicating, and that's not being done by AI, that's done by persons. And the goal is then to set up and to make the words right, and to choose the right words in order to make people feel happy with what they are going to see and what they are going to use. So within SPIE, I'm not going to change everybody on each field where we are working. We said, okay, let's make the strategy as following. We will start within a small area, so roughly a 5 to 10% of what we do. So it's around, in total of SPIE, 600 million, which could be changed related to the other topics of AI. In order, exactly what Jasper told is, if you bring in AI on the way we know AI can work, a lot of people are thinking, whoa, what do I have to do? And I see a car, but I'm riding on my horse. Why should I use a car? In that way, the behavior of people. And if you work together with them closely, with younger people, younger teams, and the older guys will get informed and will understand that this is the way they can transform their knowledge to the next generation. So it's, for us, it was very difficult, and it depends on the sector, on the market where you are working. Government is very verticalized. Industry is sometimes open. It depends. Infrastructure depends. But yeah, Lee has the same experience. Together, we have done several projects also on bridges and locks. And if you look how difficult it is to only see how much open and close a bridge can be done, or a lock can be opened and closed with the hydraulic systems, and you implement AI on that, just don't call it AI, call it optimization of the system, or call it additional knowledge, but bring it on another topic. That will help.
All about communication and the right words. So
it is.
What would you add to that, Kitting?
It's really recognizable what Jacco just mentioned. What I want to add to that is what I have experienced, and I explain it also true within my company. It is a journey. By saying it's a journey is not knowing really what it really will deliver you, because up to 2-3 years before it was new technology. So I explained to them one thing is it's a journey that we want to go through to each other to experience how AI might help you. And the funny thing I really recognize also in that, I think 2 years ago, people will compare these two things with each other. Either it's AI or either it's my current working method. And it was very hard to convince them. Or on some point, we were in the position to convince each other why AI might be a nice solution. And then, hey, that is not the thing what we want to achieve. Because really replacing, I think it takes really a couple of years or time to really have that power to replace some human intelligence there. But what we did is we say, please go together, look at the opportunities and how can we embrace, for example, AI or IoT solution, other things, and look how it can improve our assets. And what we did is we create ambassadors and believers. We have a clear strategy why we want to make a transformation, but we do have ambassadors and believers who really are passionate about what we are doing here. And definitely we want to close the connection with the business. And I'm from the business itself. I'm responsible for the P&L, but let our people like the inspector or the work preparator or the people who are really working daily on that daily job, what can they experience about the benefits of AI? And we must say that that really helps us to accelerate and to get the motor on. Let's put it in that way.
Start doing, learn from it, and then you'll get the enthusiasm. But create a set of ambassadors internally.
Yeah, and definitely within the corporate, and this is what Jacco also said, is a cultural change and behavioral change. It's not about the technology. Technology can do a lot more, way more than what we think it can. But we need to be able to adopt it, and that is a culture change, and behavior change, mindset change.
But I can also imagine that there are people now listening and saying, "Wow, this is so next level, and we're totally not ready for this. We don't even have our own data. I have no clue where to start. Let's wait until there's a higher sense of urgency in my sector or in my company." Any of you, what would you say?
If you wait, you're too late.
Why is that?
If you wait, you are too late, because if you are not participating in the AI and in the deep learning methodology and use it not for all of your operational teams or for the external clients, but please start with small areas where you can update on the operational excellence in your own processes, or start with making some offers to dedicated customers who you say, okay, let's change due to circularity, due to energy monitoring, pick a few focus points, not too many, but keep it close and simple and visual. So that's one of the reasons why we work with Jasper and Jeroen, of course, because they supply in their verticals technology on top over. So it's a collaboration between knowledge, working together, communication, and yes, of course, from the directive perspective, do it. And I know it's not so easy, because a lot of companies are, my business unit manager is saying, no. And then I just spoke with two of them, and then I said, give me the name of this unit manager, and we'll ask him that he must be trained or at least been asked to put something on an offer to change to change behavior. But it's not easy. It's definitely not easy.
No.
Maybe
let's maybe, I don't know, are there any questions already from the audience? Jamie, could you share some questions with us?
Hello, Anita. Yes, there are some questions. I have one here from Kim from Rockstart, and she asks, what are the main challenges that you experience working with startups or corporates, and how could you have prevented them? Jasper, would you like to answer that?
Well, I'm sort of
tricks. Yeah.
I've seen we've been a partner for the Rockstart AI Accelerator program for the past 3 years. So we've seen a lot of AI startups deal with corporates. Well, I think the topmost challenge is working on a real business case. So as soon as you suspect that an experiment with AI is taking place that doesn't have a decent business case behind it, then you're sort of lost, because if there's a business case, there's a budget. If there isn't, there will never be a budget. So we've learned this the hard way by participating in challenges, winning the challenge, then like champagne on stage and everyone happy. And then next week you have an appointment with whoever organized the challenge. And they say, well, this was nice. We want to do a pilot project. Okay, so
we've learned a lot. Yeah.
It's not there. What do you mean budget? You should be happy you can do this pilot. Now, okay, well, I'll tell my staff to not eat for a couple of months because we're doing a pilot, right?
Yeah.
So I think, and I see this often, but it's getting less, fortunately, because corporates like SPIE, like BAM are starting to understand how and where to apply it. But this is a real trap, is maybe a bit too negative, but be careful what you're dealing with. Is there a real business case? Will it generate some sort of revenue or be for a cause that people want to invest in, and only then move on? Otherwise, you're busy, but you're not creating a solid business case and revenue.
Yeah, perhaps 2 adds there. I think Jasper is completely right, but you can recognize it from the start as a startup. Yes. 2 things. If the business is not there, don't go there. And 2, if the marketing department is in from the first or second session, you know it's not for real. So be aware of the marketing guys from the corporates.
Maybe from your perspective, maybe.
Yeah, maybe share a little bit from our side. I think indeed we really recognize that we started a lot of pilots and proof of concept, etc. And there, at some point, we're wondering, hey, what is the real business case? What do we want to create, add value, and where does it need to contribute to? For us, it is important when we look at startups or even partnerships. We really believe in partnerships that you create value to each other, either startup, scale up, or a big company, that doesn't matter. But to have a broader horizon. So not only the proof of concept, that we have an assignment for the specific proof of concept, but definitely our view on this is that we want to develop something. We want to go to the market together, something with the partners, but definitely we want to have it be usable in the market. And we keep that in mind, and also searching for partners like, are you able to scale up? Are you able to quickly transform together with us? But also, are you also able to adapt to the, I'd call it the slowliness of a corporate, like an elephant? Because definitely we have some decision-making process which is not as quickly as a startup probably. But that is something where we look at, does the startup also fit with how to deal with corporate situation, but also to look at the broader horizon to launch and to implement AI solutions which really creates added value.
Yeah.
And maybe I can add a little bit to that, because startups see a corporate as a customer. Don't see us as a customer, but see us as a partner. That's one of the topics where you can collaborate easily, because we have, as a corporate, we are based on risk management, which is called, we have a department for legal, we have a department for finance, we have several departments. At the corporate, you only have one department, and probably you can walk and share knowledge directly with each other. So if you are a corporate or if you are a startup and you want to work with a corporate, go over the X of you have been asked by an end customer, and this end customer is asking you for a special task or a special product or a service, and maybe you cannot offer it alone. So ring the bell from the corporate, and of course you need to go to the right persons, but then we'll start working together, and we can make an offer. We can make an offer together, and because we will respect your special service and products, because we don't have them. We are not going to build them, but we can make them together. And yes, you have to go through our internal pipeline, which is not easy, because probably you don't have cash flow or never heard about it. And so the financial check will not allow us to put you inside our procurement department, which is not a department. But then I will say to my new colleague, Ewald, this is a good company, think, and let's do it. So it's you have to know the right persons, not too many, but a little bit. And also please ring the bell if you have customers who are willing to change, because as a corporate, we work a lot for requests for quotations and big companies, which are not asking us for many new things and many specialism. They are demanding it from us. So we buy whatever we find in order to supply. So and it's exactly what Jeroen also told. If I ask my marketing manager to join, then it gets critical, because it's only public relations. For us, it's not innovation washing or AI washing. No, it's the real stuff where you should collaborate onto each other. But communication, again, very important to know each other.
Yeah. Stepping up in the value chain.
Yeah.
I also sometimes hear about that startups have trouble with the data sharing part of working with corporates. Is that something that you also recognize?
What type of data do you mean? You mean the data from their clients, or
yeah, from the clients or from the company itself, the access to the data, maybe from the startup's perspective?
Well, it depends in which line of business you are. If you're working with medical files, then that's definitely a danger zone. If you're working with roads, then well, the concrete or asphalt doesn't really care about their privacy, right? So, but what is a big topic is having a decent contract about who owns the data, who owns the solution, who owns the algorithms, the trained algorithms, etc. Because you don't want to be a startup that deals with another company and finish a project and then end up with something you can't resell or you can't use. Maybe it is in a form of collaboration that Jacco just mentioned, where you go to market with the partner. But anyway, the value of your startup is in your proprietary knowledge. And from the start, you should consider this and think of what can we keep and what should we give back and what we can use in the future. That is really important. Otherwise, you're stuck.
Very good point. And that is also why this morning we had this workshop from the Netherlands AI Coalition on this, and we're making other actionable plans to help startups and scale-ups get better access to legal knowledge and get their data contracts, IP protected. And this afternoon at 3:30, we'll have another panel discussion on that. I think we're about to end this panel discussion, and I would like to make a round. Maybe there's a very interesting question in the chat, or one of you, Jeroen or Kitting, has some last advice for either the AI startup or the company that wants to work and start working with AI.
Yeah, well, perhaps one from my side, from the startup side. I think it's really cool if you are willing to invest together. So co-creation is the key, and as a startup, it opens a lot of doors when you don't, well, work for money, but you really invest together. So shared revenue models are, coming, and I really think. Most of you know, but within 5 years, there will be a very limited group of winners per domain. And please jump in now, otherwise you're too late, like Jacco already mentioned.
Anything to add to that?
No, I fully agree, and think like I always like to listen to a podcast from Richard Branson, his story about how he built Virgin Airlines, right, in a completely saturated market where every company had 300 Boeings to fly with. He made a deal with Boeing for one airplane with a clause in the contract that he could give it back in a year's time if his plan would fail. And that's how he built Virgin Airlines. So he minimized the risk on the one hand, looked for a partner that was already established but not an airline, and then went into this market and won his share of the market. And I think this is a valuable lesson that still goes, whether the technologies come and go, but also in AI, if you're an AI startup, think like that. Think, how can we reach a bigger market through a partner by making a smart deal and then going to the outside world?
Thank you, Jasper. Inspiring last words. I'd like to actually conclude this energetic discussion with some things that some of my conclusions are, well, AI offers a lot of business opportunities, creates value, but you have to start today, if not yesterday. It makes domain knowledge explicit and also helps you with making the work of your employees more interesting and also dealing with the human capital problems. And well, actually, what I already said, you have no choice. One topic we didn't talk about is actually getting knowledge from data is the new normal. So you can't afford it to say you don't know a bridge will break down or there's too much stickstoff pollution in the air. These are things you should have known by collecting the data. So I hope you're inspired to continue your good work, or well, maybe contact these persons. I think there is a slide now with the names and the contacts, and then after Anna, could you share the slide, please?
Well, maybe some additional, Annie, because we talked about communication and matchmaking is very important. In days of COVID, we are not able to contact between 1.5 meter. In some countries, 2 meter, in other countries, 1. But please get in contact. Even if you are being pushed away, please try it again. Make sure that your network is being built with partners. With big partners like us and like BAM or like Dura or whatever, but try to get in contact with a person. So I know that a few of my colleagues are also in the call, and of course you can also ask the startup who is already working with a big company to get involved with the right persons at this company, because that's so important. It's knowing what you know is important, but knowing together and know who you have to deal with and have to contact, just do that. That's okay. So I'm open on LinkedIn. I will not accept everybody, but the more you are within, I will accept. And also thanks to the team of Anita. I'm proud to be a member also of TekDelta.
Okay, thank you.